Chevy is called the heartbeat of America for a reason. With SUVs made to move with your rhythm. The versatile Equinox tackles your entire day. The spacious Traverse fits your crew and your whole weekend. And Trax brings style with value you can count on. All infused with tech that has your back, so your drive always hits the right chord. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Galaxy 5000, racing in the 51st century. The best racing in the universe. And welcome to Nostalgia, a chronological exploration of every NES game released in North America. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sean.
Is this like a method of future-proofing your game so that we can't prove that this doesn't happen?
Yeah, I'd say giving yourself a good 4,000 years, maybe 3,000 and change is a pretty good way to make sure no one can say you were wrong.
Right. I mean, we've seen with Back to the Future that, even in 1985, it's not a good idea to say what happens in 2015. Like, that's going to happen soon. We're going to, we're not that far away, and then it did pass, and those things didn't happen.
Not unless you knew that something pretty bad was going to happen in 2012, which I think we all know came true.
Right. So the Mayans tried this long shot thing, and even they, had to experience that, time will pass. And so theoretically, there is a world where people are listening to this very episode, Sean, in the year 5000. Is there something you want to say to them?
I'm going to have a few questions. My first question is, did we ever get Half-Life 3? And the second would be, can I come?
That's amazing. The first question is kind of funny, though, because you have to imagine that if at any point we got Half-Life 3 before the year 5000, that they also just went on a rip after that, and it was 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all coming out within years of each other after Half-Life 3. It's just took a really long time to figure out that third one, but now we are just busting through them, and so it's a bizarre question to someone in the year 5000.
Or if I were to ask, did the Bills ever win the Super Bowl, and then they just say, actually there was a civilization-ending asteroid impact, so American football hasn't been played in 3,000 years, and the Bills didn't win one before that. And that's just what I think is going to happen.
I think that's a full possibility, and unfortunately, they probably can't even understand our language in the year 5000, so we should really be saying Gleek Gloop Glabba Goober. Oh, I like that better, right? It is, in the year 5000, they're not even talking in the same kinds of ways.
No.
We can't even
consonants, vowels, that's not a thing anymore. It's
right,
all
exactly.
Those
Screeches.
noises when you go between worlds in this video game, Galaxy 5000.
Yeah, that's their actual
That's the
language. They're predicting that.
Yeah.
Right. They've predicted that. That's their first prediction, that they're the Nostradamus of video games. If you haven't picked up yet, Galaxy 5000 is, it not only does it take place in the future, it takes place in the 51st century, where armored turbocraft racing is the sport of choice for thrill-seeking individuals. And you start in the minor leagues on Mercury and try to work your way through the solar system. I guess that means that Pluto is the big leagues, but I guess this is their first mistake, unless Pluto continues to become a planet once again. But Pluto's not a planet anymore, so shouldn't it be end at Neptune?
I mean, I guess you can just have these things happen on any kind of planetoid. Maybe they have a Grand Prix on series that we're not aware of that just isn't in this game, you know?
And, the game isn't selling a deep story. I was joking about like the minor leagues and stuff like that. It's just selling a vibe,
Yeah.
Space racing, prize money to fix your ship and blowing up your competitors. So it is kind of like combat vehicle racing in a way that we've had it, but like not in the way that this game is doing it, where this is like if RC Pro-Am was like thrown into outer space, added some jumps, and maybe RC Pro-Am had digitized voices, but there is a digitized voice in this game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like, get out of here.
Right. The most important thing that's going to make or break any racing game, but specifically one that takes the RC Pro-Am isometric approach and puts it in space, is how it feels to drive one of these bad boys. Sean, is it fun to drive one of these spacecrafts?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. I think that basic vibe, that basic feel from RC Pro-Am is there. I just have a soft spot for isometric games in the first place. And even though this game doesn't have the typical feel of a racer, like there's no accelerate button. It's just the direction you push is the direction
just go.
You go.
Yeah.
But it also, like, you have to take into account that the direction you push is also going to feel an amount of momentum, so it's also sort of like you're nudging it in that direction instead of actually going in that direction. It's kind of complex when you think about it, but when you actually push the buttons, it's very intuitive. It's just a little... You gotta get the hang of it is all.
Yeah, and it's not like this hard to read 3D depth that we've seen with other games that try to do 3D, because it's the isometric and we're kind of used to it at this point. It is kind of like easy to tell when there are going to be turns. They're not just like sudden, all of a sudden a blinker on your left saying, okay, you're going to start turning left now, and then it's like a hard turn like we've seen in Mach Rider and games like that. I feel like visually the course, even when they do get more complicated with actual like gaps and obstacles in the course themselves, it's still a readable thing that makes it easy to understand how to drive these things, even if you do have to take it slow or bank a turn or something like that. The interesting part, of course, comes not just from the racing, but the combat aspect, because it's 4 ships racing at once, and you can shoot your rival ships, you can destroy track obstacles, you have to jump over certain obstacles or pits. Otherwise, you might fall off the course or take too much damage. Taking damage during the races, even if you successfully finish the race, means that you will have to use some of your winning money, your prize money, to heal your ship, or else you run the risk of permanently damaging your ship. That combat aspect is something that we haven't seen mixed with these other like RC Pro-Am style racing games, or we've seen on some of the ones that are trying to do like simulation, we've seen some sort of buying parts and stuff like that. But this game takes it to maybe a more arcadey level.
Yeah, like you're not really upgrading anything. You're more so getting pretty impressive like cosmetic damage onto your rig that you see between each race, and then you can choose to repair yourself, and it kind of just like it kind of wipes over the damage, and you get a clean new ride. I'm not really sure how it affects like your stats or speed or whatever, because I always just completely repaired whatever vehicle I had between races. I don't really know what happens if you kind of let it pile up.
Yeah, I got to imagine that not only will you eventually just get a game over if your money can't repair your ship, because it is the kind of thing where like your money is based on your placing, so you don't have to finish in first to move on. You just have to finish it all, because the actual track itself is a part of the pressure of the game. There's a clock that is counting down from, I don't know if it's always the same, but it's like you got like basically 2.5 minutes. And when that timer runs out, especially like at the last 3 seconds, like the course just kind of fades out like the space obviously remains. Not like you're going to dark. It's just the whole course disappears.
Yeah.
Which raises some questions about the designs of these courses in general. Like, are these just projections with some kind of solid state to them so that they could
Hard light.
that they could handle? Yeah, right. But once that time is up, like that's it. So if you didn't cross the finish line, you can cross the finish line like right at the end and still count it as moving on. But if you don't, it's that's the end of the race. So you have to complete these not only in a good time to get the completion of the course, but in a good place to get enough money to repair your ship as well.
Yeah, and it is an interesting moment, like when you get to that point where it just starts to fade away, because it is gradual. It happens over like the last 5-6 seconds. So I think it's more so did they just turn the lights off? I think the track is still there. But yeah, you'd have to. It gets a little bit harder to actually finish. But I'm sure it's for some people created some pretty dramatic finishes. How did you perform in the game?
At first I was performing pretty great. I didn't have that much trouble learning the driving aspect, and especially because the game lets you you can take jumps in a way where, like, if there is a curve, but the curve meets back up in a specific way, you can take a long enough jump that you just skip the whole bend and go to the next part of the track. And at first, the computers won't think to do stuff like that. And so it's very easy to kind of just like skip parts of the track, shortcuts, if you will, but intentional. The game wants you to do that kind of stuff to place first early on. Once the amount of obstacles and the amount of turns in the game increased, which happens pretty early on, when even as soon as you get to Venus or Mars, then it got a little trickier to finish in first, but not to complete the course.
Yeah.
So I do think the game is forgiving in that front.
Yeah, I also think that I appreciate that not every NPC knows all of the shortcuts. Like, they definitely do have them programmed in, so they're just gonna do them, and you might learn of them by watching them do it, but you also might be the first to find them in your race, and sometimes they'll go the long way around, so it's not like you're facing off against optimization opponents here.
And you don't want the money just to repair your current ship. You want the money so this way you can buy the other ships in the game and upgrade the ships appropriately. There are 5 different models. There's the Tomahawk, the Crusher, the Phantom, the Scorpion, and the Stiletto. So naturally, you don't want to just be using all your money to repair damage from the ship, which I guess if you played recklessly enough, you could just have a lot of damage at the end of each one. Again, I don't think, especially in the earlier stages, that would be something that would happen to you unless you were truly just careless.
Yeah.
But as you want to progress and continue to get these better ships, you'll need to do so.
And they got pretty cool designs too. I mean, the naming convention is pretty. There's a lot to be desired there. I feel like
you don't want to fly in the Crusher.
I feel like Crusher is something that you come up with when you're 8. And then you just don't really think about it again.
And you have to say it like Crusher.
And that and Scorpion, which I think Scorpion is cool. Scorpion was Mortal Kombat. You know what I'm saying. But these are default cool middle school boy names.
Right.
But the designs of the ships themselves are pretty cool in terms of what. I mean, they're not aerodynamic because you're in space and that doesn't matter. Do you think that's also why there aren't cool noises for accelerating?
There's no sound in space.
I know there's no sound in space.
I know. I'm just coming up with probably the answer they came with when they were about to ship the game, and I think Activision was the publisher. Oh, they were also the developers. So it's they're talking to each other, and they're like, "Shouldn't there be some more sounds?" No, it's fine.
We're being
can't hear anything
scientifically accurate here. But that's the only thing that I found very weird about the feel of the races. when I was thinking of, does this have a sense of speed? I thought, like, yes, it does, but the sound design is not doing anything for that. It's just in the handling and visually moving the screen fast.
There are two control schemes, too, which I thought was a little strange. And did you try the alpha controls are the ones that, first off, alpha controls, of course, I'm not a beta. I'm not gonna deal with that. But like the alpha controls, it's like pretty normal stuff. You use the D-pad to steer in the directions that you need to steer the whole thing, the whole game.
Directionality, yeah.
Right. And the beta controls, all of a sudden I was like, what does it want me to do here? Like I'm using up to accelerate and down to slow down the vehicle. Like that's how I'm dealing my speed, but then I have to use this. It's a D-pad, people. It's not an analog stick. It's not two analog
sticks.
But
it's tank controls. That's how we played RC Pro-Am.
That's how, really?
I'm almost positive.
No, I know. I'm saying like I didn't go back and revisit it, so it just felt strange after coming, because I started with the alpha controls to then go to the beta controls. I was like, I don't know about this. I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah, I mean, I preferred I think that if it didn't have the kind of, like, the weight, if the characters, not the characters, if the vehicles didn't have the kind of weight that they do, I would have preferred tank controls, but they are kind of weighty, so you're always kind of, like, trying to micro steer, so I didn't really think that tank controls were necessary, but maybe some people, that's the only way that they can think.
Well, the manual goes as far as to say that the beta controls are harder to get the hang of, but once you master them, they'll help you place better in the later runs.
Yeah, that tracks. That makes sense. I mean, I would imagine you have a lot more like acute control over the angle at which you are driving as compared to the isometric viewpoint.
It reminds me of like any game, like any Gran Turismo, where like when you finally go to manual mode instead of automatic transmission, and it's like, oh, like I can do a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And like even the licenses in Gran Turismo are like designed to be really hard if you're using automatic transmission. Because I don't think you can get gold on some of them.
Is it even driving if you're using automatic?
That's so European of you.
Yeah, I've never learned how to drive stick, so.
Yeah, it's funny because I did learn how to drive manual for Gran Turismo games, but I still would never want to put myself in a car with, like, I feel like something you need to learn inside and outside of a video game. It doesn't apply. It doesn't move over.
What? I could definitely command an army in the Middle Ages because I've played Crusader Kings, so come on.
Right, and we both tried a little bit of Steel Battalion, so we're totally ready to control a futuristic tank.
That's true. That's true.
The single player mode with, 9 planets, 4 races per planet, 4 laps per race. Like, it's a long game.
Yeah, I didn't finish it.
It's not asking you to do anything different each time, though. Like, the stages do become more complex for the people who want to complete it, right? It's not just, okay, here's the next crazy design we came up with. It's like they do add different kinds of obstacles. They do have larger and longer tracks with bigger shortcuts that you kind of need to discover through trial and error. It's a bad feeling to miss a jump in this game, by the way, and it can happen. You could just like misread the line because even if the tiniest part of your ship like touches any part of the course, it like counts it as like you landing. So it is like sometimes kind of forgiving, so you think you're gonna make these jumps and you start to get like riskier and riskier, and then one time you just don't make it.
Yeah. And I also felt like just in terms of like the physics of the game, that in certain levels in which there's like walls, like later there aren't as many walls and you're just more free to fall into, I guess, miles to the whatever planet you're racing above. But when there are walls, there's like a lot of friction. Like it's, if you hit it at like a weird angle, you'd think like, oh, you're just gonna kind of scratch off of it and you're gonna lose some velocity, but you're still going mostly in the same direction. But if you run into those walls in the game, you will kind of go to a full stop and you'll watch as second and third place whiz right by you. And sometimes it can feel a little off the rails there.
Now, here's the crazy question. Should ammo have ammunition that you need to acquire on the track, or is the unlimited the way to go?
I think that it's so like scattershot. It's kind of hard to aim, especially when you get into like arced projectiles that you don't really have any fine control over. I think it's fine that is just unlimited ammo. Like you're not doing massive damage unless later there's a weapon that actually blows up cars. But is that the case?
No. I guess I'm just thinking that even if your opponents had it too, it is something that adds like a little bit more of a calculation to the races of just like, I can't just like fire at every single obstacle in my way, every turret, every laser gate. I can't shoot those things just because they're in my way. I need to make sure I have the proper ammunition for them.
I would think then if they were going to go that route, you would have to have them actually, like, they should be able to take out an enemy if you're going to have limited ammo. So then you also have to like balance it on, do I want to take out one of my competitors or do I want to take out this turret that always seems to get me on this corner? It would have to be like either you get 4 shots in the entire race or you can just spam it and it doesn't really do much.
And there are a few bonuses on the stage there, I guess, where I would have put the ammunition. Collectibles, different stars. And the green star just adds money to your account. The red star gives a little repair to the damage on your aircraft. But the blue star gives you a special weapon, and a second blue star gives you rapid fire. So it's really that blue star that you want. But any of these are good things to pick up. And at first they just kind of seem like, okay, yeah, that's just something I could handle with money. But it does give you a reason to just maybe like
go leave off the line. Yeah,
like leave the clean racing line, because it's like, all right, well, at the very least, if I collect this, I might I might get the bonus or offset the damage that I might have taken. They needed maybe more purposeful placement of these stars, like to teach you shortcuts or something. Like, oh, if they were in the pits, where technically if you had the right momentum or swing to it, you could reach the next thing. It's like the game needed to teach these shortcuts to the novice player in some way, and I think that could have been one way they handled it.
But then doesn't that also, it's just sort of like a positive reinforcement? Like, if say you are playing against another person, the person that knows the shortcut also gets the power up, and kind of throwing it off balance there. I don't know.
Right,
Maybe
no,
they
it's
deserve
true.
it.
In this game, these kinds of games are gonna last based on their multiplayer. So you do need to count for that. And this game does have multiplayer, which is great.
It is weird though.
Yep. Yeah, it is weird because there's, it's a hard thing always, right, to think about, like, okay, how are these 8-bit racing games going to handle 2 racers at once? Because when I grew up playing racing games on the N64, it was split screen was just like the most obvious thing.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
They basically, and it makes sense in a beat 'em up or shoot 'em up or something. Like you die. No. It's the opposite. You just get teleported from the back if you're about to get if you're about to get sort of not lapped, but if the other player is about to go a full screen length ahead of you, you're going to get warped to the front. And it does sort of disallow any kind of like real skill difference. It's kind of a handicap that's always going to be there. But I guess like you can kind of counter that by just counting how many times you get teleported. I don't know. You got to do that by hand.
And it's not like the two things aren't related to each other, but the solve that the game has is that the winner isn't determined by who wins the most amount of races over the 4, right? So it's not like, oh, if you won 3, there's no chance. It's about the total points that you get. And so you get points by, especially on these, when you're passing the screens, that the second player has to basically be pulled forward so that the race can continue.
Mm-hmm.
The person in the lead is gaining points that entire time, so that helps further strengthen their lead over the opponent. So there can be swings there in a way that just like winning races can't.
I see. Interesting.
So that helps even with combat and things that you blow up and everything. So there's more to it than just like finishing in first, because you're both getting a time bonus for completing. You're both getting bonuses for destroying things. Like I do appreciate that they didn't just make it a best of 4.
Yeah.
Or what is that called? Because a best of 7 requires you to win 4. So what is in 4 races? Is that a best of 3? No, because best of 3 is 5.
No, you can't have a series with
right?
an even amount of maximum games.
Yes, that's true, right? Because technically you could just tie.
Unless you wanted ties to be a thing, yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants ties.
It's a very European thing.
I know. I don't. Even how do you feel about that in like hockey? Ties.
I prefer a tie than a shootout win, but
okay.
I don't think that I like playoffs because they force actual drama. If you're gonna win a whole series, if you're gonna win a whole league, I don't think that any kind of trophy should be given because some other team lost to somebody that wasn't competing, like what happens in like Premier League football sometimes. So
there you go.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's true. It depends on, I guess, what you grew up with, right? Because baseball, you can't tie. There's no such thing as a tie in baseball.
I really like that you can't even tie. You can't tie at all, even during like the regular season. They'll just make those go all night. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we'll play. I mean, some of the longest games ever are like 2.5 regular baseball games. There was no direct sequel or even a franchise follow-up to this game. This is just a one-off from Activision, which is interesting because like Activision's a big name. They could have looked for Galaxy 5000 to be like, I could see that this translating well from like NES to Super Nintendo to N64, right? Like this could have been a franchisable thing.
I mean, yeah, they did the prequel band.
What's the prequel? Yeah, Galaxy 4000?
No, Galaxy 500 was the prequel band.
Oh, the band.
Yeah. You have to imagine that there's got to be some connection there. Like either,
who came first?
Yeah, is it the chicken, which is Galaxy 5000, or the egg? Obviously, the Galaxy 500 band is based off of the video game.
Where do you stand on that whole chicken or egg thing? Are you an egg guy? You an egg man?
I'm going to say that, something that wasn't a chicken laid an egg that became a chicken.
Damn, you just upset so many people. All you have to do is just say nothing. You're not even a politician, Sean. Here's the thing. Even though there is no direct sequel or anything, and I'm sure Activision has other racing games I could look for, I just want to talk about some of the NES ones, because RC Pro Ram is the obvious thing, but I also got like some Cobra Triangle vibes in this game. Especially
fun.
With the combat stuff.
Yeah.
That was a good game.
That was that was sort of like a tasting menu of vehicles, right? Wasn't that like a bunch of vehicles?
Yeah, exactly. You were in a boat.
I mostly remember the boat.
And then, when you think about racing in the future, I guess there's 2 different paths to go on. I mean, there's plenty of other futuristic racing games, but usually it's Wipeout and F-Zero. And those are like the futuristic racing games that come to my mind. Anything I missed that's obvious, Sean?
There's the original Xbox launch title, Quantum Redshift.
I do know Quantum Redshift, actually. It's funny, I must have owned that at one point, because why else would I know?
Or it was on like a demo disc.
Oh, okay, maybe I did have the demo disc from like Xbox Magazine or something. But, you know, since I mentioned F-Zero, I've been on a bit of an F-Zero kick lately. I started with the Super Nintendo game, and that was fun for a little bit, but leaves something to be desired. And so it was recommended for me next to go to play F-Zero X on the N64. I'm a big N64 guy. Man, was I just like completely surprised by this game. I can't believe something like this works on N64 hardware. There's 30 racers on the track. There's no, like, I mean, there is some slowdown, but there's barely any to, like, impact the gameplay. It feels awesome. It's got this awesome rock and roll music the whole time. It's way more exciting than the sense of speed is there compared to the Super Nintendo game, but also, like, there is combat in that game. In fact, one of the ways to even attempt winning in F-Zero games is to just destroy your opponent so that they finish in dead last in the race. Because, like, there is kind of that Mario Kart rubber banding going on where, like, the guy, like, they kind of have their winners set up for each Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But the guy in, like, second, you know, if you don't kill him, he's just going to continuously finish in second if you keep finishing in first. But the one time you take him out, that's, like, it. Now there's, like, a new guy who's going to be like, all right, now this is the guy, this is your new rival. And they mark them on the screen as, like, rival. Kind of cool.
Interesting.
And exciting. Unfortunately, I hit a wall in F-Zero X, and I can't beat the expert mode. But I did do everything that you can do in novice and standard, so I'm pretty happy.
So I'm just surprised that you, a big Nintendo guy, hasn't really played F-Zero on the N64 until now. Like that, right? I believe for me, but not you.
Didn't even know what it might look like, Sean. And I'm just so blown away by the presentation that I think it is easily now, like, definitely top 10, might even be top 5 N64 games.
Well, there aren't many of those, so I get it.
Yeah, that is true. And I heard good things about the GameCube version of F-Zero, F-Zero GX, so maybe someday I'll get around to that as well. So here's the question, because I was talking about F-Zero, Wipeout, you mentioned Quantum Redshift. Is Galaxy 5000 ahead of its time at all? Like, is it a cool idea trapped in the NES and like that they could have continued to follow up on, or was this like exactly what it needed to be?
Yeah, I don't think this is ahead of its time at all, because I think it's very derivative of RC Pro-Am already. So it's just got a different coat of paint. They got rid of the engine sound so you could hear the music better. That's what I'm gonna go with now. I think they added a lot of cool like touches to make it like sell better. Not like actually just to sell the space thing better. Like all the close-ups of the vehicles, of the ships. Those are cool, but I wouldn't say that any part of it was ahead of its time.
Right. And now that you've answered that, Sean, I just have one more question for you, but it's kind of an important one. It's the essential games list.
That's not a question.
Well, now the question's going to start. Okay, big guy. The question is, Galaxy 5000, is it essential?
Yeah, just going off of what I just said, I mean, I guess that was a poorly timed answer to a question. I think that this is fun. I really like I think it's got a good sense of speed. I think that the car combat or vehicular combat is a cool part of it. I don't think it's as like it's not as sort of part of the game as I would like in a car combat game. But it is cool that's there. I'd say this is a very solid play it. Not quite essential just because of how kind of it's just RC Pro-Am in space. So not essential, but great.
And yeah, I think I'm going to echo that. I mean, it is one of the more distinctive racing games on the NES. I think the combination of the combat with the racing I felt like I was doing, like, even though it was just, Sean, you mentioned this at one point in the episode, just like you can just fire whenever you want, and it doesn't have like great accuracy, so you're just kind of firing all the time. But it did make me think of this more of a combat racer than just something, especially because like you don't have to come in first.
Yeah.
I like that about this game too. So I think it's not the controls or the isometric perspective that become the barrier for the game, and it's 36 races of basically the same kind of thing over and over again. So I think it's not necessarily doing anything wrong. It's just not taking it to that next level on anything. It's a serviceable game and it gets done what it wanted to do. So I think this is like if I bought this in 1991, it'd be a happy purchase. I'd be happy to have like friends over and do some multiplayer. But it's not one like I would personally keep going back to or think about as I got like my Super Nintendo racing games in this, in the same way. Like it's like, okay, cool. Now I got 16-bit technology and all this stuff is better than it was on the NES version.
Yeah, you're going to be way too busy with Off-Road the Baja.
I know you grew up with that, but like when I played that at the Long Island Retro Gaming Convention, that's another one. I was like blown away. I was like, we can do this on the Super Nintendo? Like it's just mode 7, but it like works. It totally gets the idea in the way that like some of these, like what isometric is trying to do for like 3D on an 8-bit platform. Like, yeah, it probably did blow the minds of kids, but it doesn't it doesn't hold up to the same like tech feat that the Mode 7 stuff does.
That's true. And I do want to just give this game one last credit on the amount, not so much the animation itself, but just how many like different sprites the vehicles have, like not just turning, but also like how tight the turn is. Like it looks really great when you're moving this vehicle around. But it's not enough for me to change the vote. It's just I just wanted to give it that last shout out there.
You're giving Galaxy 5000 her flowers.
That's right. I have to give her lots of flowers.
Because we're putting her in the grave. It's over. I mean, like, let's be real. We're never going to reconsider this. So this is it for Galaxy 5000. We're not going to let Joe get in the way of this.
He can still vote. All right.
Galaxy 5000, go to the polls.
It's Jover.